ground school was a great experience. As you probably know, there's a tremendous amount of material you have to go through. And the way Bob Pacelli teaches it, he chunks it up into logical sort of units. It's an atmosphere of good exchange. You get the experience of an instructor who's had 10 years in the seat. He's also a PhD, so that helps.
I needed them in high school. And they could have made pharmacology easy. That's how good they are.
And he goes through every single question, and if you didn't get it, he stops. And actually, we have these clickers that they use. And if a certain percentage of the class didn't get it, like 50%, then he would just stop and go, okay, this is what it really means. And he would explain it, and then the next week when we'd take the test again, he'd go, okay, everybody got it, we move on. They're teaching to the test, and they make sure that you can't fail.
So once you get the bug and you decide this is something that you want to pursue, you're now going to come join the GForce family. You're going to really enjoy the close relationship you'll have with your instructors.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bob Pacelli. I'm a flight instructor here at GForce. One thing that sets us apart from most other flight schools is the fact that myself and our other primary instructor, Dr. Richard Mindek, we're both professional educators. I've been flying since 1998, an instructor since 2007, and I just can't get enough of flying. I love flying and I love teaching. I can't believe I get paid for this.
We are available for our students 24/7, and that's a cliche, but believe me, it is actually true.
Access is number one. I mean, you have access to instructors, telephone, text messages, emails. There were times at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, I'm sitting home on the couch, and something just popped into my head. I'm like, I don't know what the answer to this is, and I would send a text off, and I'd actually get an answer. Like then, which was just, where does that happen,
And one of the things that our students have told me is that is very, very appreciative. They are very appreciative of that. When they need the information, they get the information, they can move on to their next portion of study. The Piper Warrior PA-28161 is an awesome airplane for flight training. Why? For numerous reasons. Number one, it's a very docile aircraft, very forgiving with new students during their initial flight training. Landing gear, for example, very robust, air oil-filled oleo struts allow for taking up any of the imperfections that students go through initially with their learning to land, which happens to be one of the most challenging aspects of learning to fly.
We have a great program as far as combining the practical elements of flying the aircraft with our curriculum that we do in the classroom. We talk about things on a Thursday night, and students are able to work in the plane on either maybe navigation, VOR, cross-country flying, or even the basics like stalls, slow flight, and takeoffs and landings. So really important, and we integrate the curriculum in the classroom and in the plane very, very closely.
The first time the student actually gets to land the airplane unassisted is a fantastic feeling for the student as well as for the instructor. During your primary flight training, one of the most significant milestones that you're going to achieve, and the first milestone, is your solo flight. Your solo flight will take place approximately around lesson 9 in our syllabus. And that will be the first time that you'll actually get an opportunity to fly the aircraft all by yourself without an instructor on board.
Here at GForce, we have a unique relationship with our students. We really care about their success, and we make sure that we work very hard to meet each individual student's needs. In fact, several of my students last evening nailed their final exam, and they're ready to take the FAA exam this week. 2 weeks ago, I had several students take the exam and almost score perfect scores on the exam itself, on the FAA written. So that's pretty exciting to me. Anytime my students meet with success, I'm very, very happy about that.
The solo flight is commemorated in a very traditional way here at GForce. So back in the day, to celebrate the students' solo achievement, there was a ritual that took place. The instructor would take a pair of scissors and would cut out the entire shirt tail of that student, which signified that from that point forward, that student now was a pilot. And it's a date that you will never forget for the rest of your life.